Okay, sweet. I love when I can see your guys' faces. So I really appreciate you having your video on because I love that. Um, thanks, Jalen. Yeah. Okay, you guys. So I don't know if you know, but I just got back from a treat called Areas in Paradise. Harlow. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about this. Nicole's probably going to be like, how much more can she freaking say about Areas in Paradise? Because Nicole has been on every training. Jalen, I know that you've been on a couple too, but like, I know that you guys have seen a lot of trainings about areas and you're probably like, what left is there to possibly say? And I'm going to try to bring you guys a little bit something different of what you haven't heard yet so far. Oh, I am recording. Okay, cool. So I want to tell you why Areas in Paradise is a really big deal and why you all need to be there with me next year. And the reason why is because it's a really big opportunity. So Donna Johnson is like the very first MVP that has ever been in Arbonne. And so like 90% of the company of Arbonne is underneath her. So like basically we're all here because of Donna Johnson. And so just know that like, yeah, 90% of the company is under Donna because of her yes that she said in like the 80s or something crazy like that. But she only picks a few teams to come to this retreat. Like it's not everybody in Arbonne. That's why like if you see like some girls that you follow who are in Arbonne, like they weren't all there because not everybody is invited to come. And so like you guys already have an invitation. All you need to do is get to area in order to come. And so it is a really big deal because again, like it's a really cool opportunity to be like hand selected by Donna to be able to come to this retreat. And I just love what she has to offer. And a lot of the information I thought was really valuable because I always tell you guys, like, let my hindsight be your foresight, right? So like I've been in Arbonne for almost a year and a half now. It's like a year and 3 months or something like that. And so like my year and a half in Arbonne is like minuscule compared to the time that these people have been spent in Arbonne. Like the people who hosted this retreat are all MVPs who have been at the top of the company for the last 5, 10, 15, and 20 years. And so they had these panels, like legendary people who have been in Arbonne forever talking about like the company, like the history, the culture, and like also just knowing the founder Petter, which I think is really, really cool to get that kind of perspective. And like when I say let my hindsight be your foresight, these people's hindsight, like they're giving it to us so that they can let it be our foresight. So like it's an incredible opportunity to actually be there. And there's a couple really cool things that I want to touch on. So the first thing that I want to touch on that I didn't even have written down, but I actually definitely want to talk about, especially just because I have, especially Christina and Jalen on the line here, not to leave you, Nicole, out, but the biggest thing about this is that, so they were talking about, it's really cool because they actually talk about how like Petter treated them when they were consultants and like how he would always invite people over to his house and like to home office and like have parties for them. And like when they got to area, it was a really big deal. And he would literally like invite them in and congratulate them and throw a party for them and all these kinds of things. He was literally that kind of person. Apparently, he actually started the company Arbonne because his wife was working 3 jobs and had really, really bad skin. And so he wanted to create a company where women could actually become millionaires, step away from their multiple jobs and actually become beautiful from the inside out and share that gift with other people. So just so you know, like our founder had such an amazing vision of like who we are and what we're doing. And it's really entirely service-based focused around women and turning them into millionaires. So that is freaking cool. This part, like, it made me super emotional when I was actually in Areas in Paradise because one of the women who was there talking about Petter was like, anybody who is a different ethnicity in this room, stand up right now. There were about 300 people who went to this conference and I was one of maybe 6 people who stood up. One of 6 people who was a different ethnicity in the room out of 300. So that is mind-blowing to me, and it does make me super emotional because we all come from families who like grew up with no money, you know what I mean? If your family was an immigrant, like even if you know you can be white, like it doesn't matter what race you are, but like hi Kelsha. Hi. You're so cute. I'm just gonna mute you really quick, sorry. But that made me really emotional because we you know, if you come from a different background, you know that it's different to be in this country. It's a huge opportunity. We all have this sort of sense of like what the American dream is, right? And so you can't just like let your circumstances define you. Like a lot of us have grown up with in different ethnicities, seeing like our mom struggle. Like maybe she worked 3 jobs. Like I know a bunch of women who are of Asian background who watched their family like own a Chinese restaurant and also like worked at a dry cleaner and also tried to sell something on the side. You know what I mean? So one of the big things that somebody talked about was that like if you haven't seen it be done, like be a pioneer for the people in your culture and actually lead the way for what it is that you're creating, because you can create your own legacy. And if there's not a path that's like actually created for who you are, make one yourself. And so that was really, really motivating for me to hear. And this woman, her name is Esmeralda, and she promoted the first RVP in Puerto Rico. And that was really cool. And she was like, next year, we're going to have double, triple, 4 times the amount of ethnic people in this room. And to me, that just means so much, because every day I genuinely wake up and I'm freaking so grateful to be in this country, you guys. I don't know if you know, but I'm actually adopted from South Korea. I was born in Seoul. And to be in this country means a ton to me, because I know what it's like to actually grow up in a foreign country. Like, not that I personally know, but I've talked to a lot of people. Like, I knew this girl, this is like kind of going off topic, and I should really stick to my notes for these reasons. But I know I met like this girl who was Korean also, and she was like, I've always had an intuitive feeling that I had a twin. And when you're adopted, like, I'm sure you guys don't know this, but you never know. Like, you don't know how many siblings you have. You don't know who your family is. You don't know what kind of background they come from. And this girl was like, I just have an intuitive feeling that I'm a twin. And she like looked up her adoption agency and like reached out to her family, and she found out that she was a twin. And so she went back to Korea and found her twin in Korea. And this was when she was 23 years old. And her twin was in a rearranged marriage, about to have kids, and wasn't even able to choose her own job. So that just like gives me so much gratitude, and really makes me humbled to be in this country, because it's so different. It's such an opportunity to live in America and to have these freedom of choices. And I feel like Arbonne is really what creates like this dream life. Like, we always talk about like how this is an opportunity and your vehicle to be able to create a life of freedom and choices. And that means like so much to me on such a whole nother level. Okay, that was really off topic. I'm going to actually stick to my notes now. Okay, so what I really, really liked is that they did this thing called a culture panel. So a lot of the times we talk about community in Arbonne, and I love our little community that we have. We're like a bunch of like super badass boss babes who are like into fitness, and we all love like manifestations and spirituality, and we're all about like blase, rose, Mercedes, like just doing like, we're such like a cool mix of like, professional, but also just like badass boss babes. Like, and I just love that about us. And we're creating our own little tribe of community of women who are kind of like-minded, just like us. And that's what I love. But culture is like something on a larger scale, right? So like the difference between culture and community is that every single community has culture. And so we don't just represent the community that we have in Unshakeable area or Project Empower region or Be the Light Nation. Like, we actually represent Arbonne as a company. And that's what I definitely want to touch on. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Arbonne has a goal to be the #1 network marketing company that gives back to others. And I love this about our company, because we're all about like service-based leadership. And so I kind of wanted to talk to you guys a little bit also about what we do in Arbonne, because I don't think that you guys know this yet, but we have something called the Arbonne Charitable Foundation, where Arbonne has basically created its own foundation that helps teens in their youth, like ages grades 7 to 10, and holds like leadership conferences for children to speak on like who they are and what their dreams are, and goal setting and leadership and community and all those kinds of things. And I really, really love that. And we have, they've helped like I think 300,000 kids to enroll in this leadership program. And then another cool thing that we do as a nation, as Be the Light Nation, is we started something called the Refuge Ranch. Have you guys ever heard of this before? Have you heard of the Refuge Ranch, Nicole?
I've seen Heather talk about it. Like, I've seen their little video on it, but I don't know too much about it. But I do know that they help teens.
Yes. And so this is something that we started in Be the Light Nation, where Zoe and Heather actually opened up something called the Refuge Ranch in Texas, where they actually bring teens who have been involved, teen girls, like very young teen girls who have been involved in sex trafficking, and they rescue them from their sex trafficking agencies and move them into these homes into Texas, and provide them with like little, like their own dorm room basically that's filled with Arbonne products. So like their shampoo, their conditioner, their makeup, their skincare, their nutrition, all these kinds of things. So we donated a bunch of money to the Refuge Ranch last year, and we donated a bunch of Arbonne products to all these girls who were rescued from the Refuge Ranch, and it was noticed by Arbonne. And it's a really cool opportunity. You actually get to see Zoe speak on it at GTC this year, which is a huge, huge honor. So it's really cool. She gets to speak about it.
Wait a second. She's going on stage and speaking?
Yeah, about the Refuge Ranch.
That's so cool. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I love that you chime in, and it is a really big deal. And it's like, this is what Arbonne is all about, you guys. Like, we all have our reasons of why it is that we join this business, but the thing that you can't see yet is that God or the universe, whatever it is that you believe, has another reason why you're here that we can't even see yet. And so I just love that. And that's why, like, I just encourage you all to just keep going and to just stay determined and be persistent and patient with your goals and just don't give up no matter what, because this business really prepares you for impact. And that's something that a bunch of NVPs spoke on while I was at Areas in Paradise, about how Arbonne prepares you for impact. And in the very small time that I've been in Arbonne, like, Arbonne is the reason why the reason why I said yes to this company in the first place is because I was going through a very impactful moment of my life, where I needed something. I needed to turn to something, and Arbonne just happened to be there for me before I even said yes. Like, Arbonne was in my back pocket when Heather had continued to ask me to take a look at this opportunity, and I told her no for 8 weeks in a row because I didn't need it, until something happened where, like, I wasn't prepared for impact, and I was so desperate for something that I said yes to this opportunity. And I continued to work my business until, and everything was going great, but I leaned into the personal development just because I was told to do that. And then it prepared me for other points of impact that I didn't see coming. Like, my dad had a heart attack over Christmas, and I took 2 weeks off of my business, and that was the month that I went into area qual and did like 2 times the amount of income of QV that I had ever done in my business ever. So, like, if you commit to your business, it will take care of you when you need it the most. So there's just a bunch of things that are coming that we can't see yet. And that's why I just really encourage you guys to keep going, and you just don't give up. So I just want to go back to the culture panel really quick, but basically what we believe in Arbonne, and this is like really important that I'd love for you guys to write down. This is what Donna Johnson told us. This is kind of like what the 4 steps of what we do as Arbonne consultants. So we, 1, make connections, 2, love on people, 3, tell the story, and 4, find the fit. So we're making connections, we're loving on people, telling the story, and finding the fit. It's really, really that simple, you guys. It doesn't have to be any harder than that. The Areas in Paradise for me was all about getting back to the basics, and the basics is leading with love, leading as a servant leader. If you want to be the greatest, you have to be the best servant leader. And so basically at the end of the day, what I took away was that your goals and your dreams aren't going to be based off how many hours you're working or how many messages you're sending out. Like, the impact, your goals and dreams are going to be based off of how many people we're truly serving. So figure out how many people that you're truly serving on a daily basis, and ask yourself if you're actually connecting with them or if you're just talking at them, because it needs to be some sort of conversation, right? And figure out what the actual fit is, because it's not going to be a fit for everybody. And that doesn't mean it's not going to be a fit for them eventually. We always say, Nicole and I always say, if it's not about if, it's about when. And so just don't give up on people, love people exactly where they're at, and love people who don't even deserve to be loved back, because you just never know when they're actually going to need it. Just like when I look back on my story, no, I didn't need Arbonne, and it wasn't a fit for me when I first got introduced to the company, but it's because somebody loved me exactly where I was at and accepted me for where I was in my circumstances, that when I needed this business, I came around back to it. And so that happened with a new consultant that I was just talking to. When I first reached out to her about Arbonne, it wasn't a fit for her. She was just starting a new job. She was trying to finish school. She was doing all of these things, and she just didn't have the time. And that's totally okay, and I understand. But a month later, I reached back out to her. She was like, oh my gosh, my company just went downhill. I actually need something now. And she signed up for Arbonne. So you just never know when people's circumstances are going to change, because they do change about every 30 to 60 days. Circumstances change in our personal lives. And so you just never know when somebody's going to need it. So continue to love on them even when they say no, because basically a no, an NO, just means that they don't know yet. They don't KNOW yet. So a no doesn't mean no forever. It just means they don't know yet. It's just not the right fit for them at the time, but you don't know when the times are going to change. So just remember that competition on social media, it's just it means scarcity mindset. Competition and comparing yourself to others basically gives us that intuitive feeling and that scarcity mindset of there's not enough success to go around. Oh my gosh, she did it, why can't I? Oh my gosh, she did it in this amount of time, I'm blowing it. You know what I mean? And that's just not true. Respect the journey. And the other thing that I heard that I really stuck out to me is that you don't know what the story is behind the sign up. There's always a story behind the sign up. Hopefully not hopefully, but I think that we all know who like Avery and Peyton are. They are trailblazers in this business because they're millennials. They're so young and they're creating these rock star teams. And like the story behind how Avery got her car in 3 months, which is crazy. That's freaking crazy. And it's really, really amazing. But at the end of the day, like you have to know that it took so long for Avery to sign up for Arbonne. Like she shut down Peyton 8 times, like, and that's over 8 months or something like that. You know what I mean? And Peyton just didn't give up on her. So just know, like, when you see these aces moving really quickly on social media, it means nothing. Like, you don't know what the story is behind the sign up. So don't compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel, because it just isn't applicable. The Rita Davenport, she used to be our old president of Arbonne. She was like a top speaker in the world. Donna Johnson actually signed her up onto Arbonne, and she always says that everybody walks around with an invisible sign on their forehead that says, "Make me feel important." And I just love that. And that's like really what we should be doing when we're messaging people, is we should make them feel important. That's like what like copy and paste messaging and mass text messaging does the opposite of that. Like, it just doesn't make people feel important. And those things just don't work, you guys. So don't treat people like a mass. Don't treat people like a number. We just have to remember and get back to the basics that, like, we're not headhunting. Like, a lot of us go around, and I've done this before, where like I go around and I see like numbers on people's heads. Like, you're a QV number to me, or like, I want like a sale, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm very, personally, when I'm driven by my personal goals of like, oh, I need to get 3 more detoxers, or I need 5 more people on my team. Like, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. So you have to learn how to take yourself out of the equation. Because yeah, we're headhunting. I mean, we're heart hunting. We're not headhunting. So don't see people with a dollar sign or a value on their head. You have to actually see them for what their worth is, and like connect with them on a deeper level. So how you treat others is the opinion of how you see yourself. So just remember, lead with love. Love yourself first, put yourself first, do whatever that you need to do to fill up your cup, and then give that back to others. So really do make sure that, like, you're going to the gym, you're eating healthy, you're reading your books, you're talking to yourself instead of just listening to all the negative things that come to your mind. Because at the end of the day, like, if our cups aren't full, we can't give that back to others. And we are heart hunting. So like, the way that we connect is the way that we treat ourselves first. So like, here's your permission to like love yourself and to put yourself first in your daily activities, because that's the only way we're going to create those really, really good connections with people. Did you want to say something, Nicole?
Yeah, this is kind of like taking it a couple steps back. The 4 items that you said make a connection, love on people, and then I think you said finding the story. What was the 3rd and 4th item?
The 3rd one is tell the story and find the fit.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's good. It's all good. So you just want to like protect what's actually coming into your mind. And I think that a morning routine is really like what sets people apart. And I love this example. This one lady that came up and spoke, she said that she has some of those contacts that she can wear them for about a week at a time. Like they're like 2-week lenses or something like that. So she sleeps in her contact lenses, but every single morning she has to wake up, and she does have to put in eye drops to create that clear vision for herself, because when she wakes up, her vision is cloudy because the contacts are dirty and they're dry. I don't know if any of you guys wear contacts. I definitely do. I'm blind as hell. And so I know all about, creating a clear vision with some eye drops. But that's a really good metaphor and a really good example of how, like, you do have to wake up every single day and you have to have that clear vision. And it is a daily practice. Like, vision is not just something that you can think of and see once and expect it to have like a lasting result. You have to wake up and you have to create that clear vision for yourself every single morning. And that's why, like, I love that we have, like our vision boards and like our positive quotes and things like that, because that's like a really visual way to understand where it is that you're going, so that we like subconsciously and consciously start gravitating towards what it is that we want. So your becoming phase is how you get the title. So just know, and we've talked about this before, and Nicole and I talk about this a lot, is that like you have to act as if before you get the title. Like your becoming phase, how you grow into where you're going, is how you're going to get that title. So to care is your best strategy. So like people think there's like a secret sauce or a magic number or something perfect to say to each person, but like there isn't really any of that. Like genuinely the answer is to care. To care is always going to be your best strategy. And technology is just a tool that we can use that allows us to serve more people. in my mind, I think it helps us to serve people faster. But that's just my opinion. So just keep making that transition from head hunting to heart hunting, but always ask yourself, like, how would you receive this message? So I kind of want to talk about social media a little bit, because social media was another really good panel that they had. Let's see. Where am I? I always ask myself just like how would I receive this message? And I've made so many mistakes, you guys. Like I've told all of you to send out like a message that's very similar to people on the internet. Yeah, I just like feel like that isn't always effective. Yeah, I definitely have people on my team that has worked with. Does that work for everybody? I just don't think it does. And when I put myself in that person's shoes and I ask myself, like, would I actually respond to this message? I mean, at the end of the day, I still get copy paste messages all the time, and I don't give them the time of day. I like don't even spend energy on it. Won't even read the whole thing. I will read like maybe a couple sentences, and then I delete it. And then I'm like, oh, well, that person's fucking idiot. Like, why would they ever send that to me? Right? So it just doesn't work. It doesn't work, you guys. I like Instagram because it really allows us to be ourselves. And that's what I love about what we get to do. So we get to be ourselves on social media. And this is freaking crazy, guys. So just know that like we are the only nation. We are the only team that does things 100% virtually. Like everybody else in Arbonne, still doing in-home parties, doing parties, driving somewhere, launching people in person. Yeah, they're utilizing Zooms and they're utilizing Facebook Lives as a tool and a resource to be able to launch somebody who's not in the same state as them. But most of the time, if they're in the vicinity, they're doing live Discover Arbonnes. They are doing in-person parties. We're the only team that doesn't do that. And I actually sat down with an RVP who is underneath one of the top 2 income earner in the United States. Her name is Jill Bush. She's an incredible person. And I actually loved this lady too. I loved the information that she told me, but she looked me straight in the eyes when she told me, she was like, you got to area and you never did an in-home party? And I was like, I've never done an in-home party or a presentation in my life. She's like, how did you get to area that way? And I was like, that's just the way that we do things. She looked me straight in the eyes and she said, you'll never make it to the top if you don't do in-home parties. And I just kind of laughed and I was like, oh, well, thanks for that. I appreciate your input, right? Like love people where they're at. I just took the info that she had and I took down a couple notes from her because I was interested in what she had to say. She's an RVP. I mean, she's above me. Something for her is obviously working, but at the end of the day, I love what it is that we're doing, and it really allows us to take the mask off. Like social media, it's so easy to put a mask on and to be this thing that like people want us to be. And like, that's what I hated in my corporate job, you guys, was that I had to like dress a certain way. I had to have the certain language. I had to act a certain way. Like, I can't even lie, you guys. I've definitely gotten let go from a job faster than I could have quit because of my attitude. I mean, it happens. And I love social media because it allows me to be myself, and I connect with people because of who I am, not because of what I say or how I dress or what I look like. So utilize social media as a tool to really be authentic, and you want to tell people why it is that you have a connection with them. So I think that it's really important also to know that we don't manage our time. We manage our energy. So figure out where it is that we're spending our time and our energy, and actually like take a look and ask yourself where you're spending your energy, and ask yourself how you're actually feeling when you see other people who are in Arbonne posting about their successes. Because I can tell you right now, when I came home from Aries in Paradise, I unfollowed a few Arbonne reps. I definitely unfollowed them, not because like they make me feel inferior, but because I'm so obsessed and so like looking at what it is that they're doing, and I repost everything of what they do. And I genuinely feel that every time we look for something to post and we look at other people's stories before we post something of our own, we're getting farther and farther away from like being our authentic selves. And so just ask yourself how you actually feel when you see certain people's posts, and ask yourself if it's MVP mindset. Like, is this an MVP mindset for me to actually feel this type of way when I look at somebody else's social media post? Again, you just like don't know the story behind the sign up. And I don't know if you guys know, but like, think about a horse's race. Like when horses are racing on the track, they have those little blinders on. And it's not because it's like making the horse, it's not to do anything other than to keep the horse in its own lane. They have blinders on so that they can't see what the horse next to it is doing or where the other horse is. And so like, that's what we need to do, is we just need to put our metaphorical blinders on and stay in our own lane and just stay the course of what it is that we're doing, you guys, because who you are and what you're doing will always be enough. And what your perspective is of the truth will always be enough. Just know that like honesty is always the right way. And you have exactly what you need. You don't need to look at anybody else's posts to like be successful or say the right thing. So it's really up to us to keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is to serve others, even when they can't serve you. Like, I can't even tell you how many people don't join my Arbonne team, but I tell them like, okay, that's great. Like, go do what it is that makes you happy. And I'm just so happy that you found what it is that you're passionate about. Or people that I've reached out to and they say, oh my gosh, I'm already talking to an Arbonne consultant. And I'm like, dude, I can't wait for you to sign up for Arbonne. Don't join my team, go join their team, because I just want you to experience what amazing culture and community is that we have. Like, it definitely will change your life. So keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is to serve with your heart. I love this. I have been integrating this into my daily routine, but send out 3 to 5 messages a day just to build a relationship. Nothing to do with Arbonne. 3 to 5 messages a day. It could be to your preferred clients. It could be prospects. It could be people who you've asked to join your business, but like, just reach out to people and love on them. Just like literally send them love for no other reason. Do you serve with excellence? We don't strive for average. And again, like, I don't think that anybody here is made to be average. Like, we're all here to put something extra on our plate because we want an extraordinary life. So don't take average activity, take above average activity. And just a little bit more about Instagram is that your feed is a visual representation of your brand. So if you guys ever need help with your Instagram, just know that basically what I do is I pick 3 to 4 things to post about, which is like selfies, fitness, food, or quotes. You want to pick 4 things that represent who you are and your brand, because you all represent your own brand. And that's what Instagram is for, is that it does create like that visual platform to create that connection with people, right? Because when we first reach out to people, what do? They come to our feed. Can people connect with your brand of who you're representing as yourself right now? Just ask yourself those things. And then stories is really where you can like ooze authenticity and like create, like show your lifestyle. And like, people really do want to see what you're doing next. So what we do is just all about intention, consistency, and hard work. And you want to ask yourself at the end of the day, like, are you someone that you would want to join when they need it? Just ask yourself that. Go to your profile when we get off this call, look at your content, and ask yourself, would I join my team when I needed this? And I think most of you, I think all of you have really good Instagrams. So I don't think that's a problem. I think especially because what we do leading with this, we all have really good Instagrams. But when you guys when you're building your teams and you're training other people, maybe they don't have an Instagram, maybe like they're lacking in something. Or just so you know, also, like when I'm prospecting people, I prospect people that I'm only genuinely inspired by. You want to find people based off of their visual representation of their brand, of who they represent, of that side of themselves. Are they inspiring? Do you want them on your team? Would you join their team? Do they have value to add? So that's just a couple things that I took away, and I'm getting right at 30 minutes. This is good. I'm getting my timing down. This is really exciting. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is to just always do the right thing. Ask yourself, is this the right thing to do? Am I doing it in the right way? And is it for the right reason? Take every single shot every single time, because basically the game is, you guys, if I fail more than you do, then I win. And it's not about winning, but like at the end of the day, you do want to fail forward in this business. Like, you're going to make mistakes. And I think the biggest thing, I'm just going to put my notes away and just like speak from my heart for a second. But the biggest thing also that I want to tell you guys is that like this business is going to, like I said in the beginning, it really does prepare you for impact. So lean into your personal development, lean into the people that you have around you, because you just never know what the universe has coming for you, and how the personal development is that we have and we learn in this business is going to help you for the future. Like, you never know when something is going to happen where you're going to be able to use what you read from that book that we recommended to you the other day, or like what you learned from that training the other day. It's not just applied in Arbonne, it's applied into every aspect of our lives, you guys, because I am a firm believer that the way that you do one thing is the way that you do into everything. So if you lead your Arbonne business with purpose, with passion, with excitement, and you lead from the heart, you are going to go into every single relationship, every single job, every single workout in that exact same capacity. So really be intentional with where it is that you're spending your time and energy, and like be all in that moment. Like really practice presence, really practice intention, and really just lead with your heart. And so the last thing that I want to say is that your yes is impacting people that like you can't even see yet, people that you haven't met, people that you can't even see in your vision yet because you haven't met them yet. Your yes impacts so many people that you will run into in your lifetime. So stay the course. Like just don't give up, you guys. Because just so you know, like it took me 8 months to become a district manager. It took me 8 months, right? You guys are at like your 1 month, your 2 month, your 3 point. And there's a lot of us who are right now, they're like, this is hard. Like Arbonne is hard. Like don't give up, because if I had given up at my 3-month mark, none of you would be here. Right? So just know that like your yes is creating a legacy, and the longer that you stay in this business, the longer your yes is going to have the ability and the capacity to impact people that you haven't even crossed paths with. So your yes is important, and just know that like your time that you're spending in this business is valuable, not just to yourself, but to so many other people. So just keep learning, keep serving, keep leaning in, you guys, because it is going to impact a lot of people, even when you can't see it. So just when you know, when it feels like nothing is happening, everything is happening for you. And there are people that are on their way to you that, again, you don't even know who they are. You don't know what their names are. So just keep going, because at some point, everyone will need this business. So love on people and leave even when they don't deserve it, which now is sounding a little bit redundant, but that's what I have to say. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you.